Hello and welcome to episode 2 of Arsenal's transfer window as I see it. Yesterday I spoke about the sort of context for the window and what Arsenal need to do and the money that they have, and you can find that video linked below or on my channel. But today I'm going to talk about the goalkeepers. Neto is obviously leaving. He played for Arsenal once in his time because David Raya stayed fit, but Arsenal are obviously going to need to find a replacement for him. I would assume one of the young goalkeepers like Setford will remain as Arsenal's number 3, but Arsenal will need to look for a number 2. We sort of saw last season the importance of that, where City and Liverpool, they had injuries to their goalkeepers at times and required their backups. And, you never know what might happen. David Raya stayed fit all last season, bar one game when Neto came in. What happens if that doesn't happen next season? So a competent number 2 is going to be required. And I think ideally Arsenal would be looking for a stylistic fit, but it's not an easy role to fill. Goalkeeper, like every other position, will generally want to play. So trying to find a high-level backup that's willing to stay for the long term is quite difficult. We saw Aaron Ramsdale and Bernd Leno move on when they didn't get the playing time. And that's what makes it so difficult. And there aren't that many options around. So Alex Merritt is reportedly close to or has signed a new contract with Napoli, so he is no longer available. And Arsenal reportedly on Monday pulled out of a deal for Garcia, saying they weren't prepared to pay 25 million euros for a backup. I suspect that might be face saving because he looks like he wants to go somewhere where he can be the number 1. So that sort of leaves you scrambling around. Players like Fabianski at West Ham or Sanchez at Chelsea have been linked. I don't think Fabianski's good enough with his aerial ability and commanding his box, which David Raya, of course, excels at, all with his feet. And Sanchez, we saw last season, is incredibly dodgy. He's inconsistent, I should say, rather than dodgy. Verbruggen at Brighton would be an excellent choice, I think, from an Arsenal perspective, but he's being linked with Bayern and he will want to play. And Brighton, of course, not a bad side either, and probably sort of falls in that too expensive bracket. And that leaves Arsenal scrabbling around for options. Who is available out there? James Trafford is one that I think might be quite interesting to look at. He would be available from Burnley. You would have thought for a reasonable fee, but I suspect he might want to stay to be the number 1 or look to go to somewhere like Newcastle where the path to the first team will be much quicker and maybe a goalkeeper more in the style of what Eddie Howe would be looking for. He is, of course, good with his feet and a bit young and raw, but I think he would be an excellent backup. But as I say, I think that will be difficult to do. So all roads sort of point back to Karl Hein. He would return from loan. If he's happy to be the number 2, he's Arsenal. He sort of came through the Arsenal system, so he would count as homegrown. Would be a really good option there for Arsenal. But I think a lot of that will depend on what Karl Hein wants to do. So overall, this is an interesting one. I think Arsenal will need to get someone in, but probably not higher priority as an attacking player, but something Arsenal want to do relatively inexpensively. What do you think? I'll speak to you soon.